All right, let's get going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. See you in a bit. We shall bring peace by force, if necessary. That guy looks very small in that shot. Time for some bullying. We also won't be skipping the intro or anything. It's just too difficult to keep the timing. It's Nell, the first character I saw in game that had a cool design. Best character? The animations and the visuals in this intro, very good. Like, that would totally work as a trailer for the Arknights game. You could just take this OP and just use it for the game. I don't think I've ever seen an actual Arknights ad, apart from the one that Connor did. I'm surprised they kept the voice like completely in English for the AI. The whole thing is in English. I get that fog can be thick, but it's not so thick that you're completely blind. What is he, a ninja? Oh no! We're being bullied! No. This guy is such a douche. The moment I saw him in the game, I'm like, ugh. Please just die. Please. I want him to get sniped in the head right now. It's just as a nice little twist, you know, that the players don't see coming. I loathe this character archetype. The bratty douchey kid. Yeah, that smoke effect is not very good. He even dresses like a total douche. You just want him to die from his design alone. But then again, you know, absolutely hate Joffrey, so despicable characters doesn't mean it's a bad character. That wounded one in the background. We've seen her in game, haven't we? I swear I've seen her somewhere before. Very clunky exposition once again. So, do we know what the Doctor's actual race is? Like, is he meant to be human, or is it just meant to be completely unknown? Unknown, okay. He's such a douche, it's kind of entertaining. Jolta, unless it's possible for Sancta to lose their halos and become like fallen Sancta. He hates Crown Slayer. +1 point in his favor. Even he bullies Crown Slayer. Anime loves to use the whole chess metaphor for a battle. Seen it a lot. A lot of good anime have used it though. But I think at this point it's a bit of a cliche in anime. Finally, a competent operator. Here comes the best girl. If only she did that much damage in game. On her original version. The sound effect on his shot is awesome. I gotta say, the sound effects in this show are fantastic. Was that the doctor just talking just then? Because it sounded a lot more male than the first episode. I know it's that guy talking, not the doctor. By the way, they did a little comic about the voice work for that character. The actor's actually wearing a mask when he's doing the performance. I think you're right. Or did he used to run it? If you listen to his the guy's voice, you can tell he's wearing an actual mask as he talks. And for I can't remember the character's name, but the one with the gas mask on, they tried recording with the gas mask on, but you couldn't understand anything, so they just put a regular mask. See, right now they're explaining something that everybody already knows, but for the sake of the audience, which is just very clunky. You don't need to tell us this, you just do it, and the audience will get it. Look, if you don't like the Originium, I'll take it, and then I can do some pulls. Could really use some right about now. They are definitely trying to appeal to people who haven't played the game, but they're just not handling it very well. I think the oropathy treatment, don't they wear like a bracelet or something that holds them back? That holds it back? If you look at every character, they've got some kind of inhibitor on them in their artwork. Oh, it's just a monitor. Oh, okay. Okay, right, I see. It's Tallulah. She's burning the city down. I think. Yeah, that's definitely Tallulah. JA83? J83, I think, is the stage name. That was very cool. Once again, the best part about it is the sound effects. Yeah, where's Nightingale? Quick. Put the girl in the wheelchair on the front line. She'll save us. Annihilation? You mean free Arundum? Let's go. What throws me off the most about Tallulah? What throws me off the most about Tallulah is that she's voiced by Maya Sakamoto, who I know from several roles where she plays like the most gentle, calm character you've ever seen. Like just the nicest people. And she's got an absolutely divine singing voice. So to see her as this like ruthless villain is really weird to me. Yes, we're going to discuss a little bit. All right. When is Calcet going to threaten me with her gun? That's all I'm waiting for. It's the only reason I'm watching this is I want to see Calcet threaten me. I mean, I'm really into the story and I can't wait to see what happens. Who's going to win? All right. So that was the episode. Let me just put on the desktop audio. Let's put some nice jazz. Jazz in the background. Bit of jazz. And let's discuss. Okay. Right. Start with the negatives so that we can end on a positive note. The negatives are pretty much the same as episode 1. They have continued with really, really poor exposition. And it has severely affected the pace. Because once again, everything stops for way, way too much exposition that just doesn't need to be there. You don't need to explain like Mephisto coming out and saying, "Oh, you're Rhodes Island who does all this kind of medicine and does this." It's like, it's just pointless and dumb. Instead, just have him say, I'm interested in your methods. That's it. What methods? We'll find out. You don't need to explain it. But by far the worst one was the explanation of healing and oropathy and originium. Literally everybody in that room already knows all this information. And they're explaining this to Amiya. And if Amiya doesn't know this, she is the dumbest person in the world. And I do not know how the hell she has that job if she doesn't even know the most basic thing about their powers. Now, obviously she does. They did it to explain it to the audience, but man... Yeah, they're explaining it to the doctor, but then also the way Amiya talks about it is like she's also kind of acting in a way that she doesn't quite... She obviously does know it, but she talks about it as if like this is the first time she's heard someone discuss it, so that she can throw in her little bit for the doctor as well. And it's just... Yeah, they're explaining to the doctor, but my god, it's just so dumb. It's so stupid. You just don't write like that. I know they've got an amnesiac character, so there's an excuse, but it's just awful writing. The action stuff was much better. So let's talk about some positives. The Tallulah bit was the best part of the episode. That looked really cool. And the visual effects, the sound effects, throughout the entire episode, sound effects, amazing. Absolutely amazing. The sound effects of her fire, of like just the energy crackling in the air, Faust sniper shots, the destruction, everything. It just sounded so goddamn cool. The performances, as always, very good. Mephisto, total douchebag. You love to hate him. Very well performed. Tallulah's performance was great as well. I would not have, in a million years, picked that actress playing Tallulah. I would just... Yeah. With all the performance, with all the roles I've seen her do, it's the complete opposite. Complete opposite of her usual roles. Nerl was cool as well. It was nice to see, some characters actually do some combat stuff. But, yeah, the pacing and the pacing caused by the exposition could really do with some work. And I wonder how many more things is there left to stop and explain to the audience. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably still give it a 7. It's about the same quality. It's maybe like a very tiny bit better than the first episode because the action was better. The first episode's action was, very standard. But in the second episode, the action against Mephisto and Faust, and then the big explosive scene with Tallulah at the end, that was a bit more exciting. It had a bit more tension. A bit bigger threat, I guess, because the one in the first episode, like there was just no real threat. It's just a bunch of goons. They defeat a bunch of goons in 2 seconds. Who cares? This one, you can tell Faust is actually dangerous, but obviously Nerl is quite tanky. And then with Tallulah, you can tell that she's very dangerous. See, that's the thing. They didn't need to explain to us that Tallulah is powerful. They just show it. So quite often in the episode, just like in the episode 1, they show us something and then they also tell it to us. And then there are other instances where they do some really good cases of showing, and it's like, why don't you just take that same technique you use there and just use it in the previous scene? And that would completely work. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like with Faust, they didn't need to explain to us. Classic action exposition. Think Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, those kinds of shows. I'm not saying specifically in those shows, but that type of show has the action exposition problem, where a character will do a technique, and then they will pause the action, usually for the character who does the technique to explain for some inexplicable reason to their opponent how that technique works. And then they go, yes, so you didn't see me when I sniped you from behind that tree because I have this special power that makes me invisible. And then flashback to them as a kid discovering this invisibility power and how their dad used to beat them up. And then one day when the dad was going to beat them up really bad, they turned invisible and got away from their dad. And then they returned the next day while the dad was sleeping. No, we got to make it a bit more poetic than that. While the dad was hanging out with his friends and pretending to be a nice guy, the sun came out of nowhere and then just stabbed him in the back with his invisibility. Dun dun dun. And then come back to the present day. And that is why I'm evil. You know, right. So you know what I'm talking about. Now, thankfully, this show doesn't have that. This has the world-building exposition equivalent of that, where it stops and explains things that it really shouldn't explain. So thankfully, it doesn't do that. And as Teal pointed out earlier, they didn't do that with Faust. They did not do that with Crown Slayer. Right? They didn't stop to go, oh, here's what Crown Slayer, like how her power works, her entire backstory in a flashback. They didn't do any of that. So that's good. The action stuff is being done well. Similar with the Doctor's strategy in episode 1. They didn't. This is what would happen in a worse action exposition show. They would be halfway through the Doctor's plan, or maybe like right before the final move of the Doctor's plan, and then they would stop to flash back to the Doctor explaining the plan to everyone, and then come back, and then he goes, and then for the final move, we're gonna do this, right? That's terrible writing. Now, thankfully, they don't do that. So they're not interfering with the action, which is good. The problem is in between those action scenes, there's just this real grind to a halt as they explain to us something that we don't need explaining. And then they finally take off again. Warden, you would be surprised what moments some anime choose to pause at and explain everything. I kid you not, in a worse show, when Tallulah appears like that, and she's about to like incinerate Amia or whatever, she would stop, and then explain her powers. She'll still have her arm out like this. She would explain her powers for 5 minutes, as everybody just stands there and listens. You know, nobody tries to snipe her in the head. Nobody tries to get away. Nobody does anything. They stand there and they listen, because when the villain talks, nobody's allowed to do anything. You're not allowed to do anything during exposition. It's against the rules of bad exposition worlds. You're just not allowed to do anything. And then they would flash back for 2 episodes in a row, flash back to her childhood. Tallulah was this poor, wandering soul in the Ursus wilderness, in the snow, taken in by this family. They were very kind, and then one day they got incinerated. And so she decides to get revenge and incinerate the whole world. Because if the 2 nice people in it deserve to get burnt, everybody deserves to get burnt. And then they come back to the present. And then she finally decides. Now remember, she's still got her arm out, right? She's going to incinerate Amia. We're waiting. There's this build-up. The protagonist is gonna die. But in these bad writing worlds, you know what they do? The villain finally goes, I will let you live. Now, multiple choice of what excuse does the villain use to let the hero live? Do we go with option A? You are not worth killing. You're not worth my time. You're too weak for me. You're not worth it. Do we go with option B? Suddenly, there's an alarm. There's something that distracts the villain. Something that makes the villain look away. Now, there is no reason the villain couldn't just finish off the hero and then leave. But For whatever reason, something happens and the villain's like, my people need me. And then they just leave the hero and go. Option C. All of a sudden, somebody finally does something and saves the hero. Sniper shot, whatever. And then the villain jumps back and then gives the moment for the hero to get away. They could have done this 5 minutes ago during the exposition, but as we've established earlier, you are not allowed to do anything during exposition. It is illegal. If you do anything during exposition, you deserve death. That's just the rules. I don't make the rules. They simply are the rules. And then, Teal, option D, the villain does do the attack, but, in a beautiful Deus Ex Machina, the hero has a new ability that we haven't seen yet, and it survives the attack. And do you know what that does? The hero, it looks like they're dead. It looks like they're dead. But when the fire clears and the smoke is gone, the hero is alive. And so now, what happens? The hero now explains how they survived the attack. We go into flashback number 2. 3 episodes of flashback of that hero training the ability out of nowhere. They somehow knew for that very moment they were going to need to survive that attack. And then we've got another 3 episodes of exposition as they explain, once again, to the villain how the ability works, where they got it from, and we go all over again. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you write a bad shonen anime. 6 episodes for 1 scene. Damn right. I have plenty of experience with this stuff. I think I do have a 3.5-hour episode talking about my favorite anime, like a bunch of anime that I recommend. But that is but a drop in the bucket of my weeb experience. Oh my god. Now, thankfully, Arknights doesn't do that. That is something I am not concerned about happening. To bring the conversation back full circle. Back full circle. Hello, Rhyme Melody. Welcome. We were just explaining talking about the intricacies of bad action exposition. Oh man. Yeah. Yes, the episode has been watched. There won't be any further spoiler discussion for those of you who haven't seen it yet, because we've already talked about all the spoiler stuff. But yeah, like that's pretty much it. So my opinion on the show hasn't changed. It's still largely the same, except it's slightly better. Slightly better, mainly because the big events of the episode are, starting to build up towards something. And obviously the VOD will be uploaded to YouTube. So if you you can always, if you're ever coming in future and you're ever not sure if you're late, you can see here the timer. If the timer is not at 0, whatever, 0 out of total time, then we haven't started yet. If it's towards the end, then it means we're done. Yes, and the VOD will be up on YouTube if you do want to rewatch it for yourself. But yeah, right. That's a lesson in bad action exposition, which thankfully this show doesn't have. Yeah, let's just hope the regular exposition is a little bit better. By the way, Rhyme Melody, feel free to DM me your login details if you want to do your pulls now. Because I do remember you couldn't show up for yesterday's one. Yeah, so there we go. Arknights episode 2. Sound effects. My favorite part still. Sound effects and the visuals. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And also that intro. That intro should totally just be the trailer for the game. I reckon it would get people excited.